When I burnt out 6 years ago while working for Uber, I felt so much shame. I was so embarrassed about the fact that I wasn't cut out for it. I didn't have the strength to push through it. Like I looked at all my colleagues and other people working in my company, and clearly they had what it took. They were able to push through the stress. They were able to push through the anxiety without being paralyzed by it. And as a result, like there was a lot of judgment of myself there and a lot of shame and embarrassment. And so I think this is probably very common for sensitive high achievers like myself, right? So if you're anything like me, you probably are this type A personality. You're driven, you want to achieve, you like success, you like pushing yourself and growing. But then at the same time, you're also very sensitive. You're very much in tune with your own emotions. You're very hyper tuned to other people's emotions, which means that you notice the different energy shifts in the room. You notice if someone's mood changes. And a lot of the time, this can feel like you're carrying a lot because you're carrying other people's emotions as well as your own. And so this means that when you feel stress, when you feel anxiety, it's just going to feel a lot heavier, and it like a lot of weight that you're constantly carrying all the time. And so this means that you will be, as a result of that, more prone to burnout, more prone to imposter syndrome, more prone to comparing yourself excessively, and also overthinking, people pleasing, a lot of these kind of traits or sabotaging behaviors that will eventually lead to burning out. And so it can be very easy to mistake this sensitivity as a weakness. But one thing I've come to realize recently is that actually the sensitivity that led to me burning out is actually one of my biggest superpowers, because your sensitivity essentially is like this internal radar system, right? And so if you were out on a boat, you would want that boat to have the most sophisticated radar system so that it can feel any movement, so that it knows exactly what's going to happen far before it happens, because then as a result, you can stay safe. Well, essentially my sensitivity did exactly that. And me burning out was just my internal radar giving me the signal that I needed, like way earlier than maybe it would have given it to someone who wasn't sensitive. And so as a result, this is one of the proudest things that I have about me. And so I'm so grateful that my body was able to detect that something was wrong, way before it got too serious, way before it got irreversible, before I experienced physical symptoms, before I push my body to the max where, you literally break down. And so while before I saw it as a weakness or a sign of me being weak, of me not being, able to push through as much as others, actually, it's a massive strength for me, because it allows me to identify a lot earlier on when something is wrong. And so if you often feel like this, or if you feel that sometimes like you're just annoyed at how sensitive you are and how more prone to feeling stressed, more prone to feeling anxious, well, obviously there are things you can do about this, and this is some of the work that I do with my clients. But first of all is recognizing that this isn't a weakness. This is actually a strength. And our sensitivity has so many other amazing aspects to it, including the ability to be very empathetic, to truly understand people, to be more in tune with yourself, with your emotions, with your ability to find meaning or create a life that feels meaningful. But it's important to remind yourself that it's not a weakness, and actually it can be a strength. So I hope that this video helps you see it a bit differently. And as always, much love.